This is the Creality Falcon A1 laser engraver. But today, I'm not going to be doing a typical video on this device. Today, it's going to be kind of a public service announcement because a lot of people buy these devices only to find out that it's not for them. And I want to make sure that whoever gets this device is the right person for the device. That's going to not only benefit you as the consumer, but it's going to benefit the company as well, because a lot of companies get returns on things like this. And believe me, if you've seen how this thing is packaged, you don't want to have to put it back in the box. I'm also going to give you the truth about people who say you can make a lot of money with these devices, because there is a lot of misinformation out there, and I want you to get the true facts on that as well. So if you're curious about that, if you really want to know what the real information is on laser engravers in general, plus my view of this particular device, well, keep watching, because you're watching Blue Collar Guy. Okay, we're back. So before we begin, I want to let you know that Creality did send me out this Falcon A1 laser engraver. However, I did let them know that I don't do anything but honest reviews, so they're fully aware that this is not going to be your typical video. And I'm going to be going through everything that I did like about it, things that I didn't quite like about it, and recommendations to the company if they really want to put these in the hands of beginners. Now, if you're new to my channel, I want to let you also know that I don't do sponsored videos. I also don't use paid affiliate links. So if you were to get one of these laser engravers, I don't get a commission on it. And you'll be hard pressed to find another YouTube channel that does not use paid affiliate links. And that can also influence a video's outcome, because am I recommending it because I want a commission on it, or am I going to recommend it because I truly believe in the product? So before we go any further, I want to let you know that Creality is having a special anniversary with their company, and they are doing a promotion right now. I will put all of those promotional links in there if you feel that you are the right person to buy one of these devices. So why am I doing this video on this laser engraver? Was it just because they reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to try this out? And the answer is no. I already own a laser engraver, and I've had some, things I liked about it, things I didn't like about it, and I want to share that with you as well. Because when laser engravers first came out, they were very expensive. They were thousands and thousands of dollars, and when they got down in price, of course, I bought one of the cheapest models I could find, just like you would, and I wanted to see, what can it do, and what kind of things can I do with it. I thought they were kind of cool. The fact that we can cut things with a beam of light kind of fascinated me. So I started off with one of these, a little Diode DJ6. And I'm going to put a price in the corner of what one of these cost, and I want you to look at that price, and then I want you to look at the price of the Creality Falcon, because they have come down in price. So this is what this one costs right now, and here's the price of the Creality Falcon A1 right now. And now I'm going to show you a picture of the size difference between this one and that one. Oh yeah, this is tiny by comparison. Now, the one thing that I want to let you know is there is a huge safety difference between one of these devices and the Creality Falcon A1. For instance, if you notice, there is no shielding on this. You get this little shield, and it doesn't cover the entire laser engraver, meaning that at certain eye levels or angles, you could get blinded by the laser if you didn't have the glasses. And I did buy glasses, just so that you know, but I didn't feel that that was adequate protection on one of these. I also noticed that on this one here, you have to take this little lens here and screw it in and out to dial in your focus. And it is quite cumbersome and, let's just say, not very user-friendly to focus it, because you have to use a little piece of paper and get the dot just right. It's not fun at all. The Creality does have a manual focus, but it is much easier and simpler to get that to work. Let's get back to laser engravers in general, okay? So laser engravers can get quite expensive. $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. I've even seen them go up from there. And there's different kinds of laser engravers. You have diode, you have MOPA, you have fiber, you have CO2 lasers, you have UV lasers. There is lots of selections out there, and they also vary in cost. So just to be clear, this is not an industrial laser engraver. This is for a hobbyist, and a hobbyist is someone that does some things occasionally. I would also think that it could be used for a small business if you didn't do laser engraving as your business and you just needed a laser engraver to do things for your business. So in that particular use case, I would actually recommend it for that as well. It is a fully enclosed laser engraver. It also has a hose that comes with it, so you can vent the fumes outside, because when I use the little one, even though it's small, I almost set off my smoke detector because I'm in an apartment. And I did not realize it was going to be quite that smoky. I thought it was going to be a little bit of smoke, but not quite that much. And if I didn't have an air cleaner, I could have actually set off the fire alarm. And that's why I kind of shied away from using it a lot. And I only used it when I was near the window, that sort of thing. I don't have a garage. I'm in a city. But the Falcon, you can actually hose it out the window, and I set up a little table and it actually worked out really good. No fumes inside. You could smell a hint of the fumes, but my air purifier, and I'm going to show you a picture of it right now, it didn't have, it didn't set it off. Like, it goes all the way up to like 180 and it'll change into that. Now, there was the volatile organic compound, so I was carving up some acrylic with it, and I think it went into the orange, but I will tell you that, and you're going to laugh, if you were to fart near the air cleaner, it can actually go higher than that. It'll go into the red. So the fact that, you know, my farts are more toxic than what was coming out of the machine, you know, I don't, either that's bad for my farts or it's worse for the machine, one or the other. I don't know, but I'm just letting you know that it was well within safety parameters. Now, the one thing that it had that I really enjoyed using was the camera system. So it has a camera which takes a picture, and you have to remember to snapshot a picture. And then what it does is it'll display the picture, and it helps you lay out your material so that A, you're not wasting material, and B, if you have to line things up a certain way, it helps you line them up. And that would include things like wording and things like that. So a lot of people are told, well, if you get one of these machines, you can make a lot of money. You can make a living. I disagree. I think the market for that stuff is really oversaturated. And if you think that you're going to start a business with a laser engraver, I certainly hope that you already have your customers in place, because if you think you're just going to buy a machine and start making money with it, you're going to be in for a real rude awakening. It's not going to happen. So am I trying to talk people out of buying one of these? And the answer is kind of yes, but I'm sort of doing Creality a favor with this. So this is the public service announcement part of the video. And the problem is that people buy these things, they realize that they're not quite as simple as they thought, or they might have been misled that they are, and then they return them. Now, I work at a warehouse. This is my full-time job. This is just blue collar guy is not my main source of income, and that's one of the other reasons why I don't have to use paid affiliate links and sponsored videos. I have another source of income. I do this because I just enjoy doing it. I love doing product reviews. But I also like to give people the real facts. And the problem is that if a person buys something and then they return it, it's not good for the company, because you're not going to get this stuff that this laser engraver comes in, because it is packaged in such a way that you would have to be really good at origami to get everything back exactly the way it was in order to ship it back. You would spend hours just trying to figure out, where did the pump go, where did this go, where did that go, because everything is in its perfect place in this foam packaging, and it's not going to be a fun experience for you. So this is why I wanted to get this part out, to save you from that headache, and also the company, because once a company gets something back and they take it back as a return because somebody wasn't happy with it, well, now what are they going to do? Are they going to be able to resell it? I want to fit the right person to this device. I don't just want to say, oh yeah, it's great, you get it, and then a lot of people get it and they're like, oh, I hate that thing, it was so hard to use, it was not for me. So this is where honesty is really important, because $600 or $700 is not a small amount of money. So what did I use this device for? So when I was talking with Creality, they were showing me some, pictures of some projects and things like that. And these are all SVG files of different, like here's one of a dog, and here's a drawer that you can make. And I've seen other videos where people have used that device and they've carved out, drawers out of acrylic and all kinds of interesting things like that. But for me, that's not very practical. The materials that you would go through would end up costing more than if you went to Walmart and bought one, or Amazon, or one of those places. So from a practical standpoint, to me, that wasn't a very good project to showcase. Yes, you can do it, and yes, it's custom, and yes, it's cool, but it's also not very economical. So how did I use this device in a way that was practical, cost savings, something that a real person would use it for? And I did find a real use case for this device. So my friend has a truck, and I'm going to show a picture of the rollover bar that he had on his truck. And if you look, there's some writing on there. You'll see some writing on there. And so this rollover bar isn't from Nissan. He's driving a Nissan Frontier. It's not a Nissan logo. It's an aftermarket roll bar. Now, he wanted to put a manufactured, like a Nissan Frontier style rollover bar for his truck, but then that would involve him to get rid of that one and have another one installed. Now, he is able to install stuff himself, but a lot of people aren't. In Canada, it can cost you up to $600 just for the labor to install one of those. I'm not kidding. It's between $300 and $600 depending where you go. That does not include the new rollover bar, which is another $500. So you could be looking at as much as $1,100 to get that job done. So we talked about it, and I wanted to do a project with this laser engraver, something that is real and practical and would actually save people money. So what did we do to the truck on that roll bar, and how did I use the laser engraver to fix the issue? Well, I have some renderings here, and I'm going to show you the end result, but we ended up using the acrylic. So Creality was kind enough to also send me some extra materials to carve up, and I'm glad they did, because there was a lot of trial and error, and I had to do a lot of different colors to see which one would match the truck the best, and it turned out we used red. So here is an example of one that I cut out. Now, I did make a mistake on this one. If you see this little line here, there was a setting, I think it's called cutting the outline, and I should have toggled that off, because when it came to engraving the letters, it swiped that right down and it doesn't look very good. And the other thing that I needed to do was drill for the holes, but getting the hole spacing was kind of tricky, and you know, it took that took a little bit of trial and error as well. So how would I rate the software, the Creality Space software? I would actually rate it pretty good. It's not perfect, and I do have some recommendations for Creality to improve that software. And I'm going to get into that later in the video. One of the issues I had was getting the right dimensions. So because I'm using my laptop and I'm trying to get the right size difference, I ended up pulling a file off of my phone. And then I needed to convert that file into what they refer to as an SVG file. And I used a different app on my phone to do that. So Creality does have a telephone app, but it's meant to communicate with their other laser engravers that use Wi-Fi and that sort of thing. But their app does not convert, to my knowledge, a normal picture file into an SVG file on the phone and then send it off. So I got a different app. I think I paid a one-time fee for it. And I'll put a picture, I'll put a link in the description to that if you want to use it. After converting that file, I had to then go into the Creality Falcon software and remove a lot of the artifacts that I didn't want it to cut out, because it's when you convert things to an SVG file, then you have to go into where it says nodes and then edit nodes, and then you remove the ones you don't want, and then whatever's left over, that's what you get. And that is one of the recommendations that I wanted to say, was that we use a lot of AI in a lot of different things, and I do think that if they were to link their software with something like ChatGPT or have their own local AI, then maybe you could use that to just explain to the software what you needed, and then it kind of figured out what it needed to be done, and that could speed up the process. I think that that would be a useful feature. Is it doable? I don't know. I think it is doable myself. I do know of other people that have implemented AI in their programs and software, and it seems to work okay. I do want to give them credit for one other thing, and that has a lot to do with settings. So when I got this guy right here, it doesn't tell you what settings to use to get a good picture on wood, or to laser engrave glass, or to do any of those things. You have to figure it out yourself. And that's not easy. You could be spending hours trial and error trying to do this and do that, and sometimes you don't have a lot of materials to waste. So guessing can really be problematic. And that is one thing I would like to say that they did a really good job on, because you see this little QR code here? The camera on the laser engraver will read that, and it will set the settings to that material. Now, they sell material for the laser engraver, and I think they charge a little bit more than if you were to buy it on Amazon, but it does come with the card. The camera will read the card, and it will program the laser engraver with the proper settings so that you get the best picture or look of what you're laser engraving on. And that's really cool. They also have a list of settings that you can download, so that if you want to buy your materials elsewhere, you can set it to those settings too. So, but you'll need to do some reading. But if you don't like to have to figure that out, well, they've got one of these. I stick that wood in there. It knows how thick it is. And the only thing you need to do is focus the laser, and the focusing plate is very simple to use. You just put it underneath the lens, drop it down, retighten it, remove it, and away you go. So now that we've talked about, how easy it is to use, And I've showed you some test footage of, it in action. And again, I don't like to regurgitate the same information everybody else talks about because they all do the same videos. Oh, here's a picture on wood. Here's a picture. Here's me carving out a cup holder or something like that. Can you use this to make money? And the answer is yes, you can make a little bit of side money with this device if you are the type of person who already does that in your community. That's the catch. So let's say you're the person and you are already involved in your community. You're the person that finds people hats for the baseball team and shirts and things like that. And you normally go to other people to have these things made, then you pick them up, and then you're the guy that basically sells them to your own group. Well, then you could use this device and actually make more of a profit for yourself because you can actually laser engrave on, t-shirts and things like that. So if you're active in your community and let's say you're having a rally or something like that and you just wanted to get some cheap t-shirts, laser engrave some things on there, not hundreds, it's not an industrial machine, but let's say you just needed like some for the people that are like the organizers, so you need like 5 or 6 shirts and you just wanted to put something on them. This is perfect for that. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you money. It's also going to save you hassle because you're also the type of person that has contracted these things out to other people. You go to pick it up and it's spelled wrong. It's wrong. They overcharged you. Wasn't done the way you wanted it done. Maybe you're a person that's involved in your church and you have events at your church. You could make things for those events that are unique to your church without having to contract those things out. And if you are a person that already does that, you know that that gets expensive over time. So a device like this would end up paying for itself over time because right now I think they have it on sale for $6.99 Canadian. Keep in mind, that little tiny thing cost me over $300. And that's today's price. There is a gentleman using the same device to carve out gaskets because you don't need a substantially high-powered laser engraver for that. This is a good gantry-style laser engraver. And he needs gaskets for custom cars. And those gaskets are hard to find. And they're also... there could be a lot of wait time to get them shipped. They're expensive because they're not, you can't find them anymore. So for him, that would have been worth a couple of $1,000s just because he has expensive projects that he wants to finish. And that level of convenience and knowing that he can get the job done on time because there are deadlines that you have to work by, the device ends up becoming a valuable tool for his shop. On a scale to 1 to 10, how would I rate this laser engraver to use? I would say that I had it up and running properly and doing stuff like this within a couple of hours. And that's, looking through everything, converting files, because this isn't just me clicking on a picture and printing off a picture. I could have done that in a matter of minutes, but to do an actual custom thing, and I've never used it before, and to have, from nothing to this in just a few hours, I think that's pretty good. So I would probably rate it around an 8 out of 10. There was a few things with the software that I thought could have been a little more intuitive, I guess you could say. I didn't find it extremely difficult to use. As a matter of fact, considering this is the software that they supply with the device, I thought it was pretty good. Usually when you get software with a device, it's kind of bare bones and doesn't do a lot. but this was actually quite useful. You clicked on the camera, you could see it had a measurement tool in there, so you could actually measure what's on the screen versus the actual size of what you need. Where I screwed up was I didn't scale things properly, and I ended up printing out one of these too big. So that was one of the issues that I had with it. That is, I had to remove some points for that, because had it been linked to, again, I'm going to just say it, an AI type of system, I could have avoided that. Now, when you first start up the software, it will say, are you a beginner or are you an advanced user? It'll ask you that. So I didn't click advanced user, I clicked beginner. So even if it didn't have an AI helper, I guess you could say, it should have at least prompted me with, did you do this? Did you remember to do that? Did you remember to do this? And then maybe have a setting on the top menu bar where I can toggle that off when it starts to irritate me. I think that would have been helpful, especially when it's your first time using the machine. So they give you a card. Okay, so here's the card. And you have to take a picture of it 9 times. Yeah. So it does say on the card, it's got the instructions right here. And I'll hold my hand still, so if you want to pause, you can read that. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't read the back of it. And it still worked, so it just says if you're using the honeycomb panel, and by the way, I want to thank them because that's not normally included with the machine, but they did send me the honeycomb panel with it because they knew I was going to be doing some cutting. So, and I do think that they should bundle that with the machine too, like have a bundled price, because for me, that's a necessary part. So if you take this card and you put it on basswood, I guess it is, a piece of basswood, then it gives it a nice flat surface to sit on. Now, I didn't do that, but I still got it to work okay. You do have to take the picture a few times. It's got to be over 50 for it to be good. I think mine was in the 80s, which was considered pretty good. I want to point out one big thing is a lot of people that give bad reviews, it's because they didn't understand the product. And something like this could be the difference between a good review and a bad review, because they might have said, well, I'm not doing that. And then they do their project anyway, and then it doesn't turn out, and then they give it a bad review. And it's because they didn't do the proper procedure. And that's not really fair to Creality, but it also tells you that a lot of consumers want things done already. They don't want to have to do things like that. And unfortunately, manufacturers and wholesalers, they end up paying the price for that. So that's my next point is you have to be the type of person that is willing to tinker. If you like to tinker with things, if you like to adjust things. I'm looking into a mirrorless camera. There are people that like to put it on the automatic settings. Those people should not buy one of these laser engravers. The people that should buy one of these laser engravers are the people that aren't afraid to use the manual settings. People that want to play with the f-stop, the ISO, things like that, because they want to have a really good picture. The other people that just want everything automatic, they're going to send it back because they're going to say, I don't want to do this. It's going back. That's not good for them. They're not going to give a good review, and that's going to be bad for the company. So if you're the type of person who likes to do things yourself, if you're the type of person who likes to save money by doing things yourself, because that is exactly what this device can do, is save you money, but you do it yourself, and it will pay for itself over time. It's going to be an investment. And if you're the type of person who hates contracting things out to other people because 90% of the time they screw it up on you and you end up overpaying for it when you do get it, well, this device is also for those people. If you are an impatient person, then don't buy one of these. Don't get the little one like I have over there, because you'll definitely go blind. And don't buy the Falcon A1, because you're just going to get frustrated way too quickly. It does have a learning curve to use it. You do have to take it out, and you have to hook up the pump and all the rest of this. It's not going to be for you. If you are a small business owner and you've had problems acquiring parts that a laser engraver could make for you, then you need to run out, and I don't mean walk, I mean to run out and get one of these, because it's going to save you time, it's going to save you money, and it will actually make you money, because you're going to be able to get things done faster than the competition. You also don't have to trust a third party to get things done, because I know you're on a deadline and you need to make sure the job is done right, and you also need to make sure that the job is done fast. It will also give you the ability to make those last minute changes. Something that you can't do when you order things custom from third party. You phone them up, say, the customer just called me, I have to add this to it, can you do that? And he's like, too late, I already do it, because you don't know when he was going to start it and when he was going to finish it. So for a small business owner, that tool could be invaluable. So the other thing I want to talk about is how fast it operates. So the speed at which the machine operates, it isn't terribly slow. This one over here, very slow. Like, I'm talking little tiny things like this can run you 20 minutes, half an hour, very long time. That other one, this, much bigger engravings and cutting things like this out, I think it was like 20 minutes. And then when I got it down to the right size, I think it was only about 15 or 16 minutes. To do the actual engraving of this part here was another 15 minutes. Those are real times. So to cut it out and put the letters on there was a half an hour. That's not bad for a hobbyist machine. That's pretty good. I didn't find myself saying, is it done yet? Is it done yet? I found that it was pretty reasonable. I made 2 of these, and I even cut out some ones in different colors. I did one in green. Now, I got a picture up there, and I'll show you the other picture of the other colors. And the mistake that I made, and I got to show you the mistake too. So this was me not looking at the proper scale. Yeah. Which brings me to my last and final point. You're going to screw up. Oh yeah. I was very careful, very methodical. I thought I did everything right. I hit start, and I still screwed up. And you are too. And that's just the way it's going to be. You're going to, when you first get to know the machine, you're going to be making some mistakes. So don't beat yourself up about it, but that is a part of the learning curve. And that's the other thing I want to make a point of, is some people don't have that level of patience. So if you're the kind of person where you hit start once and it doesn't do it, and then you blame the machine instead of blaming the process, then this isn't going to be for you. You're just going to be frustrated day after day. Well, you've heard me rambling and ranting on about, laser engravers for a while now, and you're like, well, this guy talks a lot. But when you're spending this kind of money, you need to know all of the facts. I'm going to show you a comment on Amazon, and it was about one of Xtool's laser engraver. I think it was the F2, I think it was. And I guess somebody there was going to charge him $70 an hour to teach him how to run his $6,000 machine. That's one of the points I want to make to you, is that I don't want to see anybody get themselves into that predicament, because I could just imagine the look on his face when he paid that much money for a laser engraver. He was struggling to use it. And then somebody said, oh, I'll help you use it. It's going to be $70 an hour. I can't tell you how angry I would be in that situation, and I'm sure a lot of you would be very angry as well. Now I'm going to show you another review of this machine, and it was a lot more positive. And I'm going to put that there right now. And I'm also going to show you another review of the machine where somebody had some problems with this machine. I'm going to show you a picture of that one right now, because it's not all good. I did a lot of research on Creality's customer service, and their customer service was a lot better than a lot of the competition. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. So on the positive note, after using this laser engraver, it has saved me and my friend some money. So had he had to buy another rack, it would have cost him around $1,100, and it would not have nice lighted Frontier logos. So I'm going to show you another picture of the logo now that it is installed on the truck and what it looks like when it is lit up. That's pretty cool, and that's also pretty custom. So on that note, I'd like to thank Creality for sending out the Falcon A1. I think overall it is a really good machine. I found that it was very well built. I was able to do my tasks with it. There was a small learning curve, but not a huge one. I was able to get everything up and running fairly quickly. It was also fairly quiet. It wasn't, it sounded kind of like when you turn on your microwave oven and you're using your microwave, maybe a little bit louder than that, but not annoyingly loud. But yes, you can hear it. It's there. Somewhere between a fish aquarium pump and a microwave oven, just to give you an idea of what that noise level would be like. So I'd also like to wish them well for their 12th year anniversary. So happy anniversary from me to you. And I certainly hope that this video gets the right people with the right machine. So take care, be safe at work, and I will see you at the next video. Bye.